Greetings and welcome to AlonzoBash Podcast, Real People, Real Conversations, where art and culture meets activism. On today's episode, Alonzo chats with comedian, radio personality, actor, chef, distinguished host, one of the most recognizable voices out of Trinidad and Tobago, the one and only Sunny Bling. From radio to social media, Sunny has built a reputation for making people laugh while staying true to his culture and roots. We're diving into his journey, his hustle, and how he continues to spread joy and positivity through everything he does. Sunny talks early years, his experience as a homeless person, his big break in media, family life, and why being true to himself has made him a household name. Sit back and relax. AlonzoBash Podcast starts now.
All right, greetings and welcome to AlonzoBash Podcast. I'm your host, AlonzoBash. Today's special guest, and this brother is a living legend in Trinidad. A matter of fact, all over the Caribbean, internationally known. I mean, you guys heard the intro. I don't want to go on and on and on and on and on, but trust me, man, I'm so proud of this brother. His mama and papa named him Karen Seeley, but we know him as Sunny Bling. Father, welcome.
Thanks for having me, man. How are you doing, Alonzo?
That's cool, man. You know what it is? Another day in paradise.
Nice.
All right.
On the streets of Miami right now.
You know what? That is so true. But you know, sometimes, man, you know, you have to kind of give and take, and this is one of these give and take moments, you know.
Right.
Yeah. But we're definitely gonna make up for that next year for sure. All right. Let's start with your background. So you were born and raised where exactly?
I am a Samoa Central man. That's the best way to put it. So my parents are from Laventry Road, Samoa. You know what I mean? And their improvement, as you would call it, is when they decided to get their own home and whatnot was down in Central, Cunupia, Enterprise, Shogunas area. And that's more or less the living right there, you know.
So you spend most of your time in the Central area?
Central, correct.
All right. So what was the family structure like growing up? Mom and dad, of course, you mentioned, and you know, got brothers and sisters and so forth?
Yeah. I have a sister abroad, and basically my bigger brother and myself right here.
Yeah.
And yeah, mommy and daddy grew up in what you would call the nice house long time. What I mean, not wealthy house, but what I mean, if you have both your parents and you live in, you're all right.
Right. That's nice. Your dad, I understand. Your dad is a retired police officer?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. What was it like growing up with your dad being a police? You know, I mean, I'm sure he had a
Daddy was real strict. Daddy was like real strict. Right? So daddy was no joke. Right?
Yeah.
Daddy is the man who used to draw the line real seriously, and I was a real miserable youngster too. So because of that, I had to be reprimanded differently. Yeah. So I always getting grounded or banned, or you end up getting a few lashes here and there. Yeah. Because daddy was a no-nonsense man, you know what I mean? Basically because he was part of the police service as well. The way he carried himself was a big deal too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And understanding where he would have come from in terms of how they grew up and whatnot. You always want better for your own children. So they didn't really play much games in terms of allowing us to just backslide and do what we wanted. Nah, they really wanted better, you know?
Yeah. Nice. What about mom?
I'm used to working mommy working at like Ministry of Labor.
Okay.
So within the government, that kind of vibe. The typical Trinidadian, I remember growing up long time, the talk was trying to get a decent work, you get something in the government, or you work on the TSTT, or you end up in Petro-Trin, or you try and see if you end up in TNTech or WASA. These are the things now, you know what I mean? Or be a policeman or a fireman, the traditional things all children would say growing up, I want to be this.
Yeah.
Well, boy, I'm not even so big, I wouldn't go as far as I said in local seamstress, but yes. When you have a room in your house that actually kind of dedicated to it, I would say yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. What was the early schooling like primary school and so forth? What school you attended?
For me, I went to Rosary Boys RC.
Okay.
Rosary Boys in Port of Spain. That was a real nice school. We met a lot of your friends I would even see now in entertainment. Some people that you see out here now, I actually knew either a sibling or they would have also passed through Rosary Boys. I think it was like one of them schools in Port of Spain. And I saw a lot of nice faces.
Okay. Nice. All right. So we went to Rosary Boy, and what was secondary school like?
That was cool, I was Woodbrook. That was cool. I was a decent kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Nothing too fancy, basically. I was like a class clown, basically. That's where you more find yourself. So in primary school, you was miserable, but secondary school, you was one of the popular guys, not because, you're like a bully or nothing, but, you're just funny and stupid at the same time and,
Yeah.
relatable. So secondary school was a real nice place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I saw a clip where you was in Arima. That's where I'm from originally. I'm born and grew up in Trinidad, and one of the things was if we have five, at least the more we know, and I remember you mentioning that for you. What was your plan? We only 2 passes. I mean, there's really much you can do at them times,
Well, you see, the funny thing is that it's not at that time, I always had a real independent way of thinking, right? So I was always a creative thinker, was always, as I say, into this kind of comedy thing, doing a lot of this glad stuff, right? And I always had a passion for cooking as well. So even in secondary school, I did food and nutrition. You know what I mean? And I did that in secondary school, but then I kind of gave up on it before exam, so I didn't do it as a CXC subject. But as soon as I finished school, even though I have only 2 passes, I still wanted to cook. So I actually ended up in the Hospitality Institute, and I did culinary management. You know what I mean? Because I really wanted to pursue cooking. Now, the funny thing is that I was talking to someone this week. Now, cooking to me and entertainment is hand in hand. You know what I mean? Because it's really about expressing yourself through different means, right? So in food, you experience, you see, you eat with your eyes. When you see the food, you know what I mean? You enjoy it when you see it. So the food in itself is a presentation. You know what I mean? So being in the culinary side of things was just as much as being on a stage to me, more or less. You know what I mean? And while there, I actually ended up in that pageant for Mr. TTHG. I won that. There was the student guild elections. I was the vice president of the student guild for a point in time there. And in TTHG was where I met Jason Piru, who's actually like Chef Jason. You may see him on Chef Jason. He was in my class. And he was the one that told me, hey, you need to go on audition for so-and-so comedy tent. And that is where I went to the audition, and here we are.
Wow. What was that experience like, at a comedy tent?
Well, I would say it was like being at Comedy University, because I had the opportunity, I think, basically to work with, as I said, what we would consider to be the greats, from around us. So from Chunky Ting, John Agitation, Lee John Agitation, Sprangalang. These were people, Beulah. You know what I mean? These were people that actually had the opportunity to share the stage with Larry Joseph, Tommy Joseph. You could keep going on Damien Melville. All the names that we would have known going through the Caribbean, more or less growing up. I got the opportunity at the very end of the tail to be with them for like about 3 or so years, and it was a real nice experience. So a lot of my skits on stage actually started with Sprangalang, meaning, like, for instance, involved him, meaning that he actually had like 2 lines where he would just come in and either want to know, hey, what you doing on the stage here, boy? And I had to respond to that kind of vibe, or maybe he running me off this. It wasn't like a direct something, but we had that interaction, and that was real great for me. That was a big deal.
Wow. That says a lot, man, because, like you mentioned some legends. I mean, John Agitation, Sprangalang, Tommy Joseph, for us growing up, those were the guys. And I'm glad that you mentioned that also, because now, as you can see, Trinidad comedy, especially the youths now, guys like Rody, guys like Certified Samson, the list goes on. And I actually made a post a couple of days ago, or weeks ago rather, about how these guys actually took the talent to the social media and pretty much put it on a, that talent at international level, which is very, 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 very impressive itself. All right. So you started doing the comedy thing, and when did that transition from comedy transition into radio or broadcasting?
Well, to be honest, I think it kind of like went hand in hand. If I could tell this whole story differently, but I'll chip it up a little bit. So in the comedy world, right, the comedy side with the stage, with Larry Joseph and all of that, led me to Shal Marshall, right? You heard the names I call him right now. So it led me to Shal Marshall, because Shal Marshall used to do Friday Night Live on Synergy TV. So at one of those comedy shows, he was there and he's like, hey, what are you doing here? Because I used to be doing a lot of partying because of, the tertiary level, everybody in the clubs, and they were DJs. So he didn't expect to see me at a comedy show. And he was like, what are you doing here? I was like, no, I was now on stage doing a little piece, whatever. He said, boy, why you don't come on Synergy TV on my Friday evening show as a guest and do a skit on the show? I was like, all right, no problem. Went down to do the skit. And then on the Monday after the skit, he called and said, hey, Peter C. Lewis was real interested in the vibes and he think he should come and join the team.
Okay.
So from the comedy stages, we actually got the opportunity to go to Synergy TV. And then at Synergy TV, I had the opportunity to be like a fill-in alongside Nikki Cordner.
Yes.
Nikki Cordner had her own program, and I was like a little side, something like, like a little psychic in this program and a couple other shows. And that also led to when Boom Champions was getting ready to open their radio station, they came to Synergy TV to launch the radio station. And in doing that, the producer of the radio station, who also had some little, kind of, I was getting a little internship in hosting a couple of things, basically, at that time, borrowing my father clothes and things to go to host after work lines and things. But the producer of the station was the same guy, but I didn't know that. So he told me, he said, hey, I might have an opportunity for you on the radio when you open this radio station. And now December 15th, coming this year, is going to be 20 years I'm on radio.
Yes, congratulations. Yeah. But the first time I met you, I'm not sure if you remember this, man. But I'm gonna put this out there for the record because a lot of people don't know this story, and it's a very true story. One year I got to Trinidad, I believe was 20, I'm guessing 16. I can't remember specifically, but I remember at that time Orlando Octa's. Yeah, I think Orlando Octa's song was very popular back then. Pump it up, pump it up. Anyway, make a long story short, I was in Arima. And my old mate father, Platt, who usually sell clothes right there opposite TSTT, I was standing there lineman talking to him. And you were doing a promotion at a clothing store right there in the corner. I can't remember the name of the place. But I didn't know who you was, to be honest with you.
That's what you call it.
Yeah, right up at the TSTT in Arima. And Platt said, hey, because he knew I was in entertainment business, whatnot. And he said, hey, you know Sunny Bling? I like, nah, who's that? He said, come, let me show you. And he took me into the clothing store and introduced myself to you. Now I'm saying this story for a reason. You didn't know me from a can of paint, right? But you're very humble. And I said, hey, listen, man, I do radio too. I would love to come to the station. I cannot see the vibes or whatnot. Now mind you didn't know me from paint. And you're like, all right, no problem. You give me a contact, say hit you up, I call you. And you invite me down to Boom, and I came down, saw the vibe, and the rest is history. But I say all that to say, man, one thing I noticed about you, you're definitely a people person. Where that came from?
No, on a serious side, I would say it's part of the job that I don't know if everybody understands. Yeah. For us to be involved in entertainment, what I've learned over the 20-something years, like 22, 23 years, is that we have to like the people as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if you're doing things to entertain people, people are going to be attracted and gravitate to you. At some point in time, they're going to want to see it. And I think I incorporated that mentality going. As I was always into people, I couldn't be bothered. You know what I mean? I don't mind. You can laugh at me if you feel like, but I'm just glad to be entertaining ever since a child. But at the same time, if it is you don't understand that this is a marathon and not a sprint, and to get as far as you want to go, basically, you need people. You know that bigger than people at no point in time. You're on the same level as the people, and so it's understanding that you're doing it for them. So even, for instance, let's say in communication-wise, you're walking the street, I'm no big celebrity, but you walk the street and let's say 5 people take a picture with you, and then the 6th person now is because you mentally maybe drained. You actually need to still take that picture because this one person might be the very first time they're seeing you in this life. They will see you online, but they may have never seen you in person. And then exhausted, but it's the first time they see you, so they're excited. So that first impression thing is still something. And this is not knocking anybody in particular at all, because I rather than everybody. But I'm just saying, in terms of me and the way I care about my art form, I understand the importance of the people. And maybe sometimes people don't understand that side from us. Yeah. We are human beings as well. You can have an off day, you can have a bad day, you might have bounced up the person the wrong timing. But at the same time, you just have to engage with people, man. That's what entertainment is all about. When you're on stage, as I say, you could be a chef. That's why they put the extra frames and the whatnot. You're entertaining, people.
Yeah. If you had to pick one between being a chef or the cutlery or the arts, what would it be? Let's say, faster. It bring more money, but
bring money faster, you know what I mean? And maybe it might be a more enjoyable, less strenuous job. I enjoy the two of them, but it's less strenuous. Meaning, of course, if you're in the kitchen to prepare, it might take you 10 hours to depend on what you're doing. You might be in the kitchen for 3 hours to clean up. That's also part of the job. Don't forget that part. You know what? But in the entertainment, of course, you just go out and have a great time and maybe come back sweaty. You know, so I can't answer that question fairly, but I can't.
Yeah, it's cool, man. That's my act. All right. So 20 years in radio or broadcasting, as I would say, professionally. Of course, you did a number of interviews over the years. Is there one particular interview or maybe a couple of interviews that stood out within that 20 years?
But then people that I would have interviewed?
Yes.
Any one interview that I would have done, I didn't really focus much on interviews because I'm not really a journalist per se, right?
Yeah.
But I have interviewed people. What I would say maybe in terms of introductions, so something I've had the pleasure of doing would be because I've hosted a lot of shows, a lot of concerts. I've had the pleasure of introducing a lot of acts on stage who also people again that we looked up to. So remember in school days, you singing all your bands and you're singing Sizzler and you're singing all these things, and then you actually had the opportunity to share hotel spaces with these people. I remember in 2006, I believe, which was the first time I went to Grenada to do a hosting gig.
Okay.
And that was with Marlon Asha and Sizzler Kalanji. We got Big G on that one. And I remember the morning I stepped out into the balcony, and I look across and Sizzler was outside the balcony too. But so I was like, this 2006, you ain't too long come out of school, and I've introduced so many amazing artists in the art form and in all of soca music.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I've hosted all the Calypso legends, David Brother. You know what I mean? You name it. You name it. Sparrow, I get to introduce already on stage. You know what I'm saying? So these things mean a lot to me. You know, more than the interviews, I'll say the introductions I've had the opportunity to put on was a blessing. Baron, I love dearly.
I mean, you answered the question pretty much the right way. Like I said, I should have rephrased it to introduction, but you made a good point too. I mean, you hosted a number of events. Of course, Soca Monarch is one. What was it? What was the first Soca Monarch like? Like how that call came? Like, hey.
No, well, all right. So Soca Monarch wasn't really a call like that. It was more through radio station. Now, big up to O'Brien Haynes, of course, who, you know, radio stations would operate. They would usually have a lot of inroads in terms of the advertising, partnering with events and whatnot. Soca Monarch, being as mega as it was at the time, wasn't something that was just, they would just call everybody through radio stations. When they network, the radio stations would say, now, our first entry, I think, was like doing the broadcast. So as a radio station, we were there early on the scene saying, hi, G'day, welcome to, Soca Monarch, Quiz Paxaban, here we are, blah, 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 blah. And then there was the opportunity when they asked for MCs on stage from radio stations, I think, and they were like, you know what, we're sending you and you and you. Everybody has like a little shift to do that you can pull on the stage, introduce a couple of people, and that's kind of going from there until, well, of course, my personal brand got a lot bigger. And then, and then they called, so and then remember the Soca changed hands.
Yes.
Yeah, they had a lot of, you know, the franchise, one went from here to the other side. So different promoters would have called me on board. When Faye and Bungie were in charge, I got to host some of them as well too. When we went to Jeffrey Lake and the team as well, I got to host with them as well too.
What is it about your style? Because at the end of the day, it's a business, but you always seem to be very authentic to who you are, but yet maintain the professionalism. What do you think the reason why they kept you in a Soca Monarch brand?
By me again? Let's see some connection now.
Your style, for folks who not familiar with Sunny Bling, you're very professional, but as we will say in Trini, he's a kind of a kicksman also, But there's something about you compared to, there's a lot of hosts in Trinidad specifically. All right, I'm talking about the Soca Monarch brand. Why you believe that they kept you after they changed so many different hands in the Soca Monarch brand? What it is about you believe that they like so much that they kept you as a host for that particular brand? The Soca Monarch brand changed hands right a couple times, but it still kept you as the host. What is about you that you believe that they wanted you for that particular band to be the representation?
I don't know, personally I think it's about being the right fit. So I also ask clients those questions as well over time when things like that happen. I see things have changed, but why me? It's something I also saw. I'll even go back to radio actually. So even on Boom Champions, I changed around 6 to 8 different teams.
Okay.
But what I mean, as in people around me would have, revolved. I stayed constant in the morning show, you know what I mean? So basically, I think that what I take from those things is that I am doing something right. It
Yes.
doesn't mean that you're better than anybody else in particular at all, but it boils down to maybe what you are doing at this point in time is exactly what they need. And if something isn't broken, I don't fix it. So, for
Right.
instance, if we need to enhance on different parts of the show, maybe we need to fix this, that. But for now, maybe that host is fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you see it in other places as well, not just with me. You would see places where you'll see a CEO was CEO for 20 years. And my point is, why this one person of all these years? So maybe they are bringing something that exactly what they need at that point in time. I actually appreciate that. That told me that my brand and style was working and the idea was right, because being a creative is not easy. You know that. So when you're putting things out there, you're hoping to hit, just like an artist, as a super artist or a hip hop artist, you're trying to hit and make sure, all right, what we're doing is coming of age and the people are enjoying it and they're loving it and they're going good. So they improve on that. So oh my game next year, boy. All right, so what can I do different? So for instance, there was one year, I remember, I think 2016 or 17, when I decided to start changing suits in different categories. So for instance, in Groovy, I came out in one suit to host the Groovy category. And by the
Yes.
time halftime came around, before we go to power segment, now I came out in a different suit. Again, what could we add to the pot to enhance the thing? I see you already last year, and you mentioned it.
Yeah.
So what can I do? Well, I guess that's it.
That's a good point, man. Because I myself host events, and I remember one time I do the same thing. Change, your outfit, because to me it adds it adds a certain level of professionalism. What- So every time you enter the stage and they come up with a different outfit, the crowd looks at you different because they're seeing something different. So they're more attractive, you know. But with people, the other kick say, boy, who is you? How can I talk? I say, man, just let me be. But that's a good point you brought up. All right. 2019, United Way Day of Caring. You pretty much participated in United Way, where you actually was in the streets of Port of Spain as a homeless person. How was that experience?
Well, for the overall experience was an educational one for me.
Yeah.
Right, I learned something on that day. The most I'll take it to the very end and come back down. So the very most important thing I took away from that in particular for me was that being homeless or on the streets, mobility is a big deal, and having proper footwear
Yeah.
is really important, right? So, for instance, I was walking around the streets barefoot in the middle of the day when I was like 11, 12, 1. I wanted to embody the whole vibe of what they wanted at the time, right? So I did the makeup and I said, no, I don't want any shoes or anything. I want to walk barefoot and just be on the road because that's what you see.
Yeah.
And I learned within those couple hours that the ground at a certain time of the day, because remember we have on shoes all the time and we don't think about that. What about if the soles of this person's feet is so sore from walking on this ground that they just can't move, they need to sit down.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest takeaway for me. And you know what's funny about that? You bring that up because this week I saw a wholesaler that has a deal on slippers.
Okay.
And ever since that initiative in 2019, and just awareness that people avoided for me, since 2019, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start returning to wear more to the homeless than anything else because we might look at it that way, but just they may need food and everything else. A lot of people support homeless with food and these things. I will say that. You see, people always giving, right? But some of these simple things we don't look at, like a slipper.
Yes.
Just a slipper. They don't have to brand name. The point is just a little space between them and the ground.
Yeah.
To keep them moving a little more. Maybe they didn't want to sit down in front of your place in the first place, but they thought so. So, as I mentioned, as I said, I saw a wholesaler this week and I saw had some deal on a bulk of slippers.
Yeah.
So I want to actually go and purchase some more slippers for the same thing that you mentioned there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I actually have a lot of homeless friends in Port of Spain. And when I say homeless friends, meaning over the years, because I've worked in town for so long with entertainment and whatnot, and I interact with everybody. I have a few homeless people that I've been pretty close to, and they will see me out by my government name. I say, hey, what's going on? There's one that comes and checks me at the radio station ever so often, like he know when I work it. And he'll just be waiting outside, like, hey, what's going on? Are you good? And he just pass through, And I don't know. I think since that program as well, even before that, it's a love again for people. You know, I mean, just knowing that everybody is everybody. So
Yeah.
I would sit and have a humble conversation and hear what's going on because remember they always have stories.
Yeah.
So homeless man might say, Alonzo here this one now, boy, easy to listen, but he just trying to share my story.
Right.
You know, give an update. You realize, boy, yeah, boy, there's all going on. He said, boy, and you realize if you could really just save a one person, it would have been so nice. You know, but I just start by doing the slippers.
I like that. I like that
Yeah.
initiative. I like that. I like that initiative.
Imagine floating on the Chesapeake Bay, waves gently lapping, stress melting away. Now picture this, a spa but make it nautical. Welcome to Be Well Boats by Floating Needs. We're not just boats, we're floating sanctuaries of bliss. Drift away your worries with a massage while cruising the coastline. Choose from dockside, open water, or beachfront wellness experiences. Aromatherapy, hot stone massages, henna, scalp treatments. We're redefining relaxation. Why settle for ordinary when you can float to extraordinary? Perfect for birthdays, anniversaries, bridal parties, even waterfront weddings. Located at Canton Waterfront, Baltimore. Ready for your aquatic escape? Call 844-727-BOAT or visit floatingneeds.com. Your relaxation awaits.
Shipping nightmares? Not anymore. Let me spill the tea on stress-free international shipping. Jay's Hassle-Free International is the game changer you've been waiting for. Air, ocean, Caribbean, Dominican Republic. They've got it all covered. And those special rates? Absolutely amazing. Full container or just a corner, their prices will make your wallet do a happy dance. No more headaches over complicated shipping. Just call the shipper lady at 443-927-5816 and watch your worries vanish. Trust me, once you try Jay's Hassle-Free International, you'll wonder how you ever lived without them. Wave goodbye to shipping stress and hello to smooth sailing. Serving Pennsylvania, Delaware, and the DMV. Remember that number, 443-927-5816. Your stress-free shipping journey starts now. Hey, DMV, is your car giving you trouble? Look no further than MB Auto Repair, LLC. They are not just fixing cars. They are reviving dreams on wheels. From mysterious engine noises to stubborn transmissions, their expert, certified, and experienced mechanics tackle it all. From oil changes and maintenance, brake service, tire service, etc., affordable pricing with transparent quotes. That's the MB Auto difference. They are fast, reliable, and honest. Don't let car troubles stall your life. Swing by MB Auto Repair, LLC. Your vehicle deserves the best, and so do you. MB Auto Repair, LLC, your car's new best friend in the DMV. Call today 410-444-0500.
Shana Imabara. Oh, you came in with a whole Iowa George Savannah. Am I correct on that?
Correct. So that again, because of the comedy side of things, I never wrote that song. I was never formally recorded.
Yeah.
And it's just comedy. That's what a long time comedy would have been like. You know, just want to spin a song and create a vibe. I love doubles. This is like my national dish.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just made something happen. And then I was George at the time. I was like, yeah, that's a vibe. And he co-signed it. He was like, yeah, cool, no problem.
Right. Okay. So we will stick with Iowa George. Let me come at Iowa George real quickly. So I'm going to talk about this Chana Nabara. Because I've seen clips. It pretty much mashing up soca and so forth. That year, that song was so big, you know, it like it wasn't an official song, but it came to the point that there was a big highlight that you was going to perform this song on Marshall Monday. What happened on Marshall Monday that you couldn't perform the song? You need to go into the big city.
I guess it was a miscommunication between Iowa George and the team internally there.
Yeah.
Basically, because I was more or less part of what I would assume to be Iowa's performance. He invited me to be a part of his performance on the night, basically. So this was not an official invitation from the camp internally there at all, which I understand. However, I believe it was a miscommunication. You know, I mean, if I was if I knew, I didn't know what already happened, to be quite honest, in terms of not being allowed on, you know what I mean? So if it is I was told of something beforehand, I would not have made myself present, to be honest. But I really don't know in full what really take place there, but I know it's miscommunication, to be quite honest. And I was invited by one party, And then, as I say, I was down there on backstage in the event, so I don't know, let's make it that far, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was invited and then told at the last minute, nope. I was like, all right, cool, no problem. So
Yeah.
that was the most it happens, you know, it's all up, I guess.
Okay. You made you have on your post you usually make I guess ask Sunny or your opinions on certain things that's taking place in the industry, and of course you have mentioned Iowa George specifically still participating in competition. What's your take on that? What's your honest opinion?
I was just mama guy and I at the point no don't get and I work cool. I mean, so at the end of the day I know that's true, no job because there's no wicked man thing on it like that, but then I work cool too. And at the same time that was a new competition basically. So it came out this year was a brand new competition.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of the convo was a circuit centered around young people and I was like more like new talent to be quite honest.
Yeah.
More than anything else. So I just decided again comedy gladness, you know. And yeah. And then, you know, see, I work on the competition. I was like, oh my God, that's not my fault. I didn't do that, you know what I mean? I always said it wasn't my fault too, you know what I mean? But at the same time, people can do what they want where competitions are concerned. I am not against any particular artist entering competitions at any particular age or stage. There's no cutoff point if you ask me. You could do whatever you feel like doing, you know what I mean? And people can say more or less what they want. Nah, mama, dime, you know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, like you mentioned, 20 years in the business. Anything you have planned? That's a big number, you know. Any anniversary plans? Anything you plan on doing? Any major projects moving forward and stuff like that?
My anniversary level, I really not certain what I want to do. I've been thinking about doing something with the community based or same with the on the street people. I'm really not certain what I want to do like that, but at the same time, it's just being thankful to be here. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, in this space, just be able to create and be relevant. After 20 years, it's still being allowed to hold shows, go on television, and somebody invited to a podcast, for instance. You know what I mean? Because they need that or something that's need to be heard or whatever. I think after 20 years, in any field at all, you want to be thankful that you're still relevant and valuable to it. You know what I mean? So if it is your police officer or whatever, you want to feel appreciated and valued around what you're doing work. So in the past 20 years, I like the best entertainment. Plus, it's thankful to be here.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of the future of entertainment as I mentioned with the TV and Yes, Ramses and Boss, Secret Trinity and all of these little acts. It's like when we see it like from that high division, I know so for myself 50 years ago, we see that, you know, over the past 5 years I've been with other people, we catching their own vision.
All right. So you mentioned comedy. What's your Mount Rushmore comedian? You can do both. Let's keep it local. You know, meaning let's keep it local. What would you say is your Mount Rushmore of comedians? So you have worked with them, you've been around them.
Mount Rushmore of comedians, boy.
I agree. But well, let's go back to the foundation. Let's go with the foundation because it'll be an injustice for the young ones coming up.
Okay. So let me say Mount Rushmore real quick. That's a boy. Hey, I'm gonna be real hard, but I can't even think of it. I'll pull Larry Joseph, Sprangalang, Beulah.
Sprangalang, Beulah, Larry 3. So you have one more.
Yeah, boy, but I don't people get to know right now already.
Yeah, I know you did Hotel 21 with Nicky Cosby, right? That was a theater.
Right, enough is actually about 5 days. Chuck Congress, they're broken to me, son. It's amazing, but
Yeah.
You're not joking. It's like trees Hollywood now.
You know people too, man. You know names. You call it some real names, you know. Trust me. What was Beulah like?
Very jovial, very loving, kind. She's like, well, what's it so serious? I don't care. No, I grew up in church as well.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the church as well. And we went to the same church as well. So besides seeing her on stage or on the TV in the little commercials, she was in the same community as me in Central.
Okay.
So I knew her sons and that kind of thing. And I can't remember the name of the bad, but he was always there, you know what I mean? He was always there driving. I think I see Pharaoh at the time. And I see man. Daddy husband was always there, you know that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's
Yeah. So I like Beulah. Beulah was a very nice lady. That's the best way to put it. Jovial, that's what you saw in the competition, but she's smiling and she and nice and wrong and bubbly.
good.
Right. Really nice person.
All right. So this part of the well, before I get into that, man, I know you're a dad as well, and you have family. How are you able to balance both ways, your professional life and your family life? Because I know being a dad, I'm sure the time had to be serious, So and
I'm a serious man,
yeah,
sometimes. Now, but the balance is really in terms of the serious side of things. My children understand that I am normal human being like anybody else, so don't take me for granted. We speak on serious things, we speak on serious things, but most times I try to keep it a little relaxed. Like long time we used to be the children, I get like super miserable. But I try not to be, the hands-on gay licks, but we spend more time, what I mean? My daughter's 6-year-old right now playing chess in school, part of the chess club. So no big chess master, but you know what I mean? My point is that's an opportunity for me to say, you know what, let me spend some time playing chess with you if that's the case then.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So we get something to do with each other. My big son, he's into mechanics now. He's 13 years old, but he loves cars, you know what I mean? So we always talk about cars, the Lego builds, the techniques. So if it's drifting, we go to a drifting show.
Yeah.
So I think it's just basically, you may not have all the time in the world, but it's understanding how to spend that quality time. So for instance, let's say, because we're busy, we're on the road, like whatever, but you only have one day. You have one day to spend some time. I have 4 children. So the point is, let's say we have one day to spend time and it's 4 of them. I like to do something individually. So in other words, that person gets to feel what they want. So this Friday, daughter was like, since before, I was like, Daddy, I want to go to the beach. I had a day off from school on Friday. I had the day off.
Yeah.
We went to the beach. Now it was only 2 out of 4 on the beach.
Yeah.
But the point was that that's something that they really, really, really wanted to do in that moment.
Yeah.
So we did what they wanted to do in that moment. You know what I mean? So just making the right amount of time. The children will understand too. They know that you're busy. They know that you're working. They know that you're providing. But they all.
I'm not going to ask you 1,000 questions, obviously.
I was hoping that, yeah.
Pretty much what I do, I give the guests opportunity to pick a number from 1 to 2,000, and the number that you pick is going to be the question that's going to be asked out of the book.
How am I certain that the number that I pick is the question, or you don't have a question already pre-packaged waiting to say that is the question from me now?
No, the book right here. See, you can see it. The book right here, the official book. The official book is official. I'm doing some more things with this book, but yeah, it's official. It's official. So, yeah.
All right. If I'm to pick a number in there,
yeah,
let's go with 1955.
Wow. That number was specific. 1955.
1955.
All right, let me see. 1955. Okay, here we are. All right. What is the greatest peer pressure you ever felt? What is the greatest peer pressure you ever felt?
What is the greatest peer pressure I ever felt? That's a serious question. The greatest peer pressure I ever felt, man. I would say if I want to be, not funny about it, but anything like that, I would say to learn to drive.
Yeah.
Strange enough, I would say that. I would say because in terms of being, if I want to pick one decent thing to say, I'll say the learn to drive, because growing up, I grew up with a lot of boys in my community, right? So I mean, fellas all over the place, man. So we had a small halfway basketball court, something, and everybody used to get thinking about it. It was like 20 something in terms of the age groups now, like wide gaps. And I was at the bottom of the list in terms of age, right? Okay. So I grew up watching everybody do their things first. So my brother was 5 years old than me, who was in a certain batch as well. When they would go to parties, I would get to attend the parties as well. So, you know what I mean, getting to do what they were doing at that time. So seeing everybody driving now was a big deal. So I was really, really encouraged heavily to learn to drive my boy. Because everybody kind of had their license. If me as the youngest one at the time, by the time I could have been a driver, if I get my license, then there's no shortage of cars for me to be access to me, or that kind of thing. wanting to drive was like a big pressure on my back, I would say, for me. And it paid off because I will drive today, boy. I don't drive like that. You know what I mean? Right now, I see I'm in my chariot right now. This is my office, my private jet, my everything right now. You know what I mean? I just, yeah.
You do a lot of videos in the
Yeah, a little bit. It's a style that I got now. Remember, nothing is brand new under the sun, right? So it's a style I got from a couple content creators online. Like there's this guy who does conversations in a Bentley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where he's sitting down in the back of a Continental or some kind of thing. So I'm actually sitting down in the back of a A6. Okay. You know what I mean? So it's some conversations from the 6 side of that song. No, I ain't sound good. Every night time. But the point is,
well, you know, you're watching numbers, you're watching numbers.
That's the next thing, correct? Yeah. And I ain't no part of none, so yeah. Let me don't do that. Yeah. But Trinidad is a blessed place, man. Trinidad is a blessed place, and everybody's trying to find a way, I guess.
Yeah.
And trying as best as we get.
Yeah.
What's going on with you, though, brother? You're asking me a lot of questions. What's going on with you? What's the latest with Bashman? What's going on?
Well, I mean, you see, this happens, you know. I don't feel this is going to happen because every time I interview people that are pretty much in the media space, so at the end I was doing it wrong and, you know, and ask me questions. This is fine. I mean, I'm great.
You don't take me from primary school straight up the road, you know. I don't know if you're going to get us to, you're going to get thinking. So my point is, what's going on with you? What's going on?
Hey, I'm just cool, man. Humble as Allah, man. You know, just trying to document, you know, guys like you have been doing so much for the community over the years. And I think I really believe that the reason why I really like I told Mr. Caleb beside this story, I said the reason why, because my background, just like you, is in radio. And a lot of times in radio, when you're doing an interview, to me it feels rushed because the person might be, most of the time is on a promo, you know, and they get to like the meat. And I noticed here, especially in the US, you know, a lot of people document their stories in the podcast form. And I feel like it's something that now there's a lot of podcasters in Trinidad that's doing it, which I really, really love. You know, big up guys like KG, big up guys like Corey. I love what they're doing because I really believe our story needs to be told and documented. However, that is documented, it needs to be told. Prime example, a lot of things you said today, a lot of people didn't know. And I think it's very important for you to tell your story and certain things the kids and all, family might even know. You know, and your story within itself help motivate others, you know? So that's pretty much, yeah, well, other than that, man, I'm cool, man. You know it is. That's cool. Fighting the fight.
So when next you coming to TNT?
I was supposed to be down there for Christmas, but most likely it's looking like I'm going to be down there in April. Yeah, my dad, but it's in April, so that's the plan, you know, bring the kids down.
So who would you say are like the top 5 locals in the US right now, like trending names from TNT if we're talking soca music? To you would say like on your charts right now, you would say the top 5 trending names in the US right now would be like who?
Wow, that's a good question, man. Top 5 trending names in the US right now in soca.
Yeah.
I would say this though. I don't think it really boils down to the top 5 because I mean you hear the common names. But I would say we call it small islands, you know, the Grenada, the Vinci music.
Hey, don't dance from the question. I just had to build a whole Mount Rushmore for you. You are going to give me an idea of who are the top 5 trending names to you in the US right now.
Man, that's how questions I ask, man. It's really okay. Yeah, I'm based in Maryland, and you know, I believe New York is really like the mecca for.
So who do you hear most in Maryland right now?
In Maryland, I mean, in Maryland, Maryland. Who here in Maryland? You know who is popular in Maryland? JDL. JDL is popular in Maryland. Who else, man? I mean, Mikael Tasia, his name is popular out here as well. I mean, even lyrical, you know, his is popular out here. You know, I mean, I would say, yeah, the regular names. You ever been to Maryland or the DC area? I thought you was in Brooklyn recently.
I've never been to Maryland.
Any other questions?
No, I good because you really answered the question to the very best, and you dance from it as best as you can. You're trying to be as diplomatic as you can possibly be. You don't want to swear away any artists from the program.
Yeah,
I understand. You know what I mean? No, it's a pleasure just to be here. Actually, you have any more questions to me?
Well, I mean, at this point, I'm just going to open up the floor to you. If there's anything you want to tell, you know, your fans or any messages or what have you? You want to say from.
To all the viewers out there, thanks for taking in the program. I hope you enjoyed the segment today. If there's any question you think you can be asked, maybe you can send me an email or something, sunnybling@gmail.com, hit me on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or one of these places. I just love doing what I do. Being yourself is a real big part of this in terms of entertainment. No matter what part of the job you do it from, maybe you're a guitarist, percussionist, backup singer, lead singer, or content creator, host, MC, no matter whoever you are in entertainment, whatever service that you provide, just be yourself. Anybody out there trying to get involved with entrepreneurship is concerned, guys. Just be yourself. People always want to say, like, I should try and be like, boy, or I should be like, no, you can take a lot of pieces from different people to inspire yourself to be greater, but at the same time, you can be a lot further in this life by just being yourself. And right now, the world that we live in is so accepting. I think it's the best time to be yourself. You know what I mean? As in, just be the best you can possibly be, and don't doubt yourself. Believe in God. Have faith in God is really important. I mean, say that prayers. Teach your children about praying. Teach your children about respect. Teach yourself about respect. I'm not a perfect human being, but as you grow older, we just keep reminding yourself that this is a marathon and not a sprint. And you have way further to keep going. You didn't reach where you think you reach going. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're like on the top of the hill and it's like, wait, I didn't realize that I'd be on top of the hill and you think you reach. But if you already turn around and look up again, there's a bigger one right there and you keep going. So just keep believing in yourself and you never know where our final destination might really be in terms of growth. You know what I mean? Just keep going. We're on our podcast right now. What are we doing here?
Well said, man. Once again, man, Sunny Bling, I definitely want to take this opportunity to really thank you and give you your flowers, and your contribution to not just a culture, a Caribbean culture, Trinidad and Tobago, but internationally. You definitely, I've been looking at your career, I should say, rather, for a number of years, and you definitely bring joy to a lot of people. Listen to your program on Slam as well. And yeah, man, you're definitely very entertaining. I mean, if you have never seen Sunny Bling host an event on stage or weddings, you definitely get involved. And you're guaranteed to get a laugh. So that being said, man, I just want to thank you. And then keep doing your thing and much success moving forward, and hopefully another 20 years in the business.
Yeah. Thanks, man. And same to you. And all the best and blessings to you and your family.
Yes, Sunny Bling. It's out, man. I respect.
You don't know. Joe! Yeah! I nice to give thanks and praises to the Most High. Really, Selassie. Joe! King Rastafari. Joe! I King is the only one of vibration. The only one. Only one vibration. Oh, well, okay. So when I shout Kadamawi, the wicked them wanna hold me. I shout King Selassie. Oh, well, okay, yeah. When I shout Kadamawi, the wicked wanna know where when I shout out Selassie, man lives and reign in you and I. There is the kings of kings. There is the lords of lords. The conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, elector of the world. Tell them it's right for ruler. He's the kings of kings and lords of lords. My God, him reign forever when I shout Kadamawi. The wicked one don't know well who we. And when I shout a Selassie, the man will live in you and shout at Tamawi. The wicked one don't know well who we. I tell them King Selassie. It's a pressure I need. Every get a youth I feel the heat. Peer separation from the street. King Selassie bless the humble and the meek. Yeah. Envious and jealousy, yeah. Tell me why the people envy. When love brings unity and equality, yeah. King Selassie. wanna know well who am I? Who am I? Teach them kadama. They wanna know who we. Teach them about Selassie. The man who lives in you and I. Somebody better crown him kings of kings. Crown him lords of lords. Crown him kings of kings. Alpha. And somebody better crown him kings of kings. Crown him lords of lords. Crown him kings of kings. Yeah, lords of lords.
The Babylon, them don't like how things are gone. Them pass the coke, them pass the guns and things across field, and them have no respect for the old and the younger one. Say Rastafari stay firm and strong. Say live down in the getaway, I get my wisdom. I roll up for my weed and catch my meditation. Say the Lord is my light and my salvation. Say who shall I fear? Tell them no evil one. Boom. Yeah man, crying out for my black people, you know. Celestia.